I mean, for the most part, it's good to be where you're standing.
Maybe. Yeah. I would have thought standing right here, I would hear it more than standing over there.
No, sorry, it's the sound back. Yeah, maybe.
I joined Profundis in what seems like so long ago, a year ago. I've been a fan of the band for, well, since they released Bleak Reflection, and seen them grow and played with them a couple of times in some other bands I was in.
Yeah, we started writing this album. It was actually a strange experience, this one, because we started writing it with one guitarist, then got rid of him and got another one. Halfway through the process of having this one, I thought about getting rid of this one as well. Actually, no, I didn't. No, it was interesting because I think we started writing really about January last year, and then halfway through the year, and I'm going to be really honest, we just realised that the other guitarist was just not going to cut it anymore. Roman was just not practicing, so we needed to make a change. You know, from all angles, we need to make a change. So like. We had a tour that was coming up, so we were really in two minds about it, about sort of what to do. Do we go to the tour, do we cancel, or do we get somebody else to do the tour? I was actually at the time in a band with Paul. We were doing this tribute band called Sabbath, Judas Sabbath.
And ended up playing with some other members of the band in different projects. And one day, Shoy got in touch with me and said,
"They made Paul, are you busy next month? And you know, how would you feel about sort of, you know, coming and playing with us for a while?" And Paul, you know, Paul has been a fan of us for a while, so he said,
well, yeah, definitely. And we had a show in Dundee where we didn't play as well as we hoped, and we were all pretty pissed off. And so one of them, I think it was Shoy, turned around and said, "Fuck it, Paul, do you want to be in the band?" And I thought, yeah, right then. And that's pretty much how it all got started.
It sort of shaped, you know, when you actually get to eventually listen to the album, you'll see there's really two, to me, I don't know if people out there will hear it, but there is really two sort of parts to the album. There's the parts that were written before Paul joined, and then the parts that we wrote or finished off when Paul came in. And I think what he brought in has been really, really good. It's raised everybody's game on this album.
Interesting experience trying to record it, because we ended up having Paul writing a lot of the new riffs for the album, and he's got a very different style to our previous guitarist. It's much more intricate in the lines, so I ended up having to try and, you know, follow the parts, but at the same time trying to put a interesting spin on them as well with the bass parts, rather than just following them exactly as they are. I still tried to add a bit of an interesting touch with them, and also link it with the drums as well.
Obviously this is the first album I've done with the band, and so I really am completely clueless as to the creative process of the last 3 albums. But it's very democratic. Basically, usually what happens is either Shoy or me will come up with a riff, then we arranged it with the rhythm section, and then Craig would usually come in and tell us something's crap, at which point we'd rearrange it until he's happy with it.
So yeah, it's an interesting album. I'm very happy because it's exactly where I wanted the band to go at this point in time. You know, heavier, faster, you know, sort of leaving some of the sort of, maybe some of the more proggier elements that we've had in the past. Yeah, so I'm just overall very pleased and can't wait to play these songs live.
The new album's going to be much faster. It's very similar to the stuff we have on the EP, because the EP we recorded at the same time, we wrote all the music at the same time. So, and the rest of the album is all along the same kind of lines. It's much faster, it's more concise. There's no kind of extended sections that maybe go on too long or anything. We're just trying to cut to the point, make it better for live gigs as well. Sometimes we're playing gigs and people will maybe be put off sometimes by how far out we can go with the music. So we're trying to keep it more to the point. People enjoy it a bit more. We've tried some of the songs on tour recently and people seem to really dig it. So yeah, we're quite looking forward to just getting those new songs out there, I Tom came to the band very last minute. We were really impressed because he basically learnt the whole set in a week, which was more than we could have possibly hoped for. It's a real joy to play with, to be honest.
I first ended up playing with the Profundis this summer just gone. I got a call from my friend Paul Nazakadir, the guitarist, the Iranian-Irish guitarist, I should say.
I actually worked with Tom in a myriad of different projects of all sorts of different styles and genres, from metal to hip-hop. And well, in that time, you know, it's been quite a few years and we work pretty well together as a team. And I also thought that we have, in Deep Profundis now, we have a rhythm section made of two people who I can only describe as half man, half machine.
Yeah, yeah, it's a funny one. I hate lineup changes. I really do hate lineup changes because it's, you know, it's always brings a bit of insecurity, and you always feel that are you being an asshole by getting rid of somebody? Especially, you know, Nick was in the band for a long time, and you know, respect where he's due. He was very fundamental in the sound that we have today. We wouldn't be where we are today without Nick. We saw him grow as a drummer, but unfortunately there's things that happen in life that you've got to sort of, you know, priorities change and you just got to accept it. And so this, you know, unlike where other sort of splits within the band, or we have people leaving the band, it's been sort of long coming. With Nick, in some ways it was long coming, but it also happened really quick. But when it happened, there was no other choice.
I literally just got off another tour with my other band, Ali Azimi and the Need, around the States, recovered from a horrible amount of jet lag. About 4:30 in the afternoon, got a call. Paul never calls me, he doesn't like me, I think. But he basically rang me up and said, yeah, do you want to come and do a tour? And I said, yeah, why the hell not? Sounds great. So I went off and played with them on about 8 shows around Europe with Malevolent Creation we were supporting. And a short time after that, it became apparent that they were going to be looking for a new drummer. And I decided I was going to be pretty interested. I had a cracking time on tour, so really enjoyed the music. So yeah, just thought I'd give it a go from there.
And it was we were very lucky. I mean, it's just the small story is that Tom was contacted at the last minute to go and play this tour with Malevolent Creation, and it was one of those tours that we felt we have to do. You don't get offered very often this kind of tour, especially with pretty much a legendary name in the death metal scene. Tom sort of accepted to do the tour with literally 1 week notice, a couple of rehearsals. Craig was very nervous because, you know, he was like, well, how are we going to do this? But he pulled off the tour, and also from a personal point of view, it worked really well. He's a very organized man, which helps.
And so I always thought, why on earth hasn't Aaron and Tom done anything together? And so I made it so, being the manipulative person I am.
And yeah, and then when he came, it was quite funny because when we came back from tour, then this sort of split with Nick happened, and Tom was supposed to give me numbers of drummers, he was supposed to tell me about other drummers he knows, and for 3-4 days he was just not giving me any numbers. And I was like, fuck's sake, man, give me some numbers. And then he said, no, sure, I'm not going to give you any numbers because I'm actually quite interested in myself. And we were all very surprised because we were like, well, we didn't expect it. You know, we were like, great. I mean, you know, if he wants to join, that's brilliant. But we just weren't expecting it. So actually, it's great how these things sort of fell into place, really. I still think that it's Paul's conspiracy to gradually get rid of all of us and bringing his old bandmates into the band. I do think there is something going on there. Never trust a Persian.
Now, I'm really looking forward to working with Tom in the future because he's got a great imagination. We've spotted already with a lot of the parts. He's bringing his own thing to a lot of the parts that have already been written on the songs we've been playing from the previous album, the new album that's going to come out. He's bringing his own thing to the table. He's playing the songs in his own way. His sense of time is so fucking awesome. I mean, it's really great. I mean, even sometimes, occasionally, we might have got lost on like the first gig because we'd literally had one rehearsal with him, went out there, played the first gig, not in the same country even, and he's just, you know, sense of time right on there. And we're really looking forward to what we can do with him in the future.
What's next for the band? So we're off on tour in February with our friends from Omnium Gatherum from Finland. We played with them on the Rotting Christ tour back in 2011. And ever since then we've been in touch, and we've always sort of said that we'd do something together. I think our genres will work quite well as well. So in February we'll be doing that tour. It's looking mostly to be a UK track at the moment, but we are sort of trying to see if we can go further afield. We're quite excited because we've actually got a management team now, a really good management team as well. They're sort of looking after sort of the other side of the business, like labels and all that. So there's a lot happening next year. So hopefully we'll be on the road a lot and get to release this bloody album at some point.